What's up, Trainiacs? You've been asking for it. I've been testing it for several months. Today, finally, we are talking about the Oura Ring for triathletes. That's that. So, Trainiacs, today we are talking about the Oura Sleep Activity Heart Rate Tracker and how it applies to triathletes. So if you don't know about this ring, the Oura Ring is the second generation in the Oura company's product line. The first generation was huge. It was like a decoder ring, and they only sold maybe a few thousand of them to the most die-hard biohackers out there. The second generation ring, when it was announced, it was oversold by I want to say they sold a few thousand of the first ring. They had 45,000 pre-orders of this, and people like Lance Armstrong couldn't even get it. I couldn't even get it until recently, but they're back up to speed, selling a lot of these, and it's good. So this ring starts at $299 US. The next level is $399 for an upgraded color, and the diamond version is $999 cost. So it's not a terribly cheap ring, but it's very high quality. I've been using it every single day in place of my wedding band for 3 months now. It tracks your sleep quality, it tracks your sleep time, it tracks your heart rate, it tracks heart rate variability, it tracks your activity levels, all automatically without you having to do a thing. It's fully waterproof, so I've been wearing this for every single swim I've done for months, and it hasn't changed the readings whatsoever. And one of the big things that the original Oura Ring had as a detriment to it that this doesn't is that it needed constant charging. This needs charging maybe every 7 to 10 days, and the charging happens within a matter of about 30 minutes. So let's get into how this ring can help triathletes. When we take a step back from this ring and we look at what I think the most important factors to successful, healthy training as a triathlete are number one, you gotta be healthy. Number two, you need to understand what your body needs and when it needs it. This is recovery, this is rest, this is giving yourself a little bit of flexibility in your training. The third thing is that it has to be able to be reasonable, applicable, it has to work within your time frame, and then the final thing is that it has to be fun. So addressing those first two things, keeping it healthy and keeping it flexible, the Oura Ring I have found to be tremendously helpful. So let's look at sleep. This tracks your sleep without you having to do anything, and in my experience, the sleep tracking is really accurate with some caveats. So every single morning, I open up my sleep app, and one of the first things that I do is I sync this ring to the app. It takes only about 10 seconds or so. I get a visual depiction of how well my sleep went throughout the night, and then I get a sleep score. Now on a micro level, the exact sleep tracking I found to be a little bit inaccurate, and there were some quirks. So there were times that it registered that I was awake perhaps for 20 or 30 minutes when I know I was asleep at that time. Also, if you take a nap in the afternoon and then go to bed later at night, it's going to recognize that time in between the nap and the time that you went to bed as fully awake time. It's going to register the start of the nap as the start of your overall sleep cycle, but then you can always go in and manually just take that out, and instead of you getting a very detrimental sleep score, you're going to have a more accurate sleep score. So there are some quirks to it. But on a macro level, when you take a step back and say, is it a useful tool for tracking sleep? It absolutely is, because when you start looking at things over a period of days and weeks, and not just every single minute of every single sleep, you start pulling out trends. So two things come about from that. Number one, what gets measured gets managed. So if you are starting to all of a sudden start thinking about tracking your sleep, you're going to all of a sudden start prioritizing sleep. Second thing is that when you can start putting a tangible number on how well you're sleeping, you can do what I did. For 5 weeks, I tracked melatonin use versus valerian tea versus nothing whatsoever versus using blue light glasses versus using the chili pad. And I did 7 days worth of data on each of these, and I was able to see, oh, with nothing, my sleep score was this. With blue light glasses, my sleep score was significantly better. With melatonin, wasn't consistently better. With valerian tea, somewhat better, but not necessarily. With the chili pad, yes, absolutely better. So you can start picking away at what are the personal hygiene sleep aspects for you that really do and don't work. Next thing, when we start getting into that flexibility of training, we start looking at things like HRV. Now, Oura has a reading of your readiness level, which takes into account HRV, your daily activity level, your sleep from the night before, your resting heart rate during sleeping, your recovery index. I liked taking it down to just HRV because we've seen studies that just using HRV has allowed elite cyclists to get 4-fold more improvement than a standard block training group of elite cyclists. So you take those daily HRV readings, pair that with the tracking spreadsheet that tracks your 7-day rolling average against your 30-day rolling average of HRV that you can get at triathlonTaren.com/HRV training, and all of a sudden you can start seeing the trends of how you are accepting the training, how ready you are to train, and you start getting indications of, all right, well, I had a really bad meal for a bunch of nights in a row during Christmas time and my HRV went down. Or I smashed myself consistently day after day, my HRV went down. I didn't get good sleep, my HRV went down. Or my HRV is nice and high. Even though it's a rest day, I can continue to push it. And maybe in my case, I've got travel coming up. It's nice that I know my body is ready to be able to push harder so that I can move a harder workout up and rest on that travel day. So all of a sudden you start getting this tool where you can start flexibly changing your training to give your body what it is capable of on every single day. And that's a really powerful thing. Without this, I don't know if I could do that, because as much as I like the HRV for Training app, Science and Sports said that you need about 10 minutes of data to get a really accurate HRV measurement. The HRV for Training app only takes about 90 seconds of data. It's also highly variable on how quickly you stood up out of bed. Have you peed or not peed before you took the test? How still are you during the test? Whereas this, it's just taking it throughout the entire night that you're asleep. And if you take 7 to 9 hours worth of data, there are going to be areas where it's not quite so accurate, but on a whole, it is proven to be as accurate as, well, think about it. Where do they put the pulse ox? Nurses and medical professionals, pulse ox. Where do they put the heart rate tracker when you go into the hospital? They put it on your finger because that's where they can best detect your heart rate. So bottom line, do I like it? Yes, I absolutely like it. This isn't something that I'm going to review and then go back to my usual wedding ring. I'm going to use this all the time. Boom. It's right there. As far as putting it into context of the new rating system of how seriously you should consider this, where 1 is knock your socks off, but I don't really care if you use it or not, and 5 is yes, you absolutely need to use it, I'd put it a 3. As much as I like it, if you don't care about sleep, if you don't care about tracking your HRV, it isn't going to appeal to you. If you want to dive into those things, that 3-star rating says it's an absolutely great product, but not for everyone. Now, if you do want to get it, just know that if you're on Team Trainiac, you can get $50 off. If you're not on Team Trainiac, go check out the free trial at teamtrainiac.com. You can get 14 days, check it out. And heck, you could even go buy one of the Oura Rings in those 14 days and get $50 off. I just realized that. So I like it a lot. Sorry everyone that it's taken me a while to get this to you, but this was something that I really wanted to make sure I had a very strong feeling about one way or another, because is it a good product? Yes. How are triathletes going to use it? Not sure. Who should consider it? Not sure. What does it mean, practically speaking, when I start tracking things? How does that translate into how you use it as a triathlete? I had to dive into all of this to make sure that I had a good opinion on it one way or another. I hope this helps. Go check all of those resources, and later, Trainiacs.